All right. So you'll had a nice dinner with your Grammy. Are any of you trained in medicine?
Yes.
Are you? Okay.
Wait, let me double check.
Don't
Sorry,
touch
new
that
character
roll.
sheet. Who dis?
There's no roll involved. That's one of your.
Yes, I am trained in medicine.
So think about what your great aunt said at the dinner sticks with you because she was about to tell you the story of somebody called Mallory's, but you've seen the word before in a medical text. You just can't bring it to mind where it was or in what context.
Mm-hmm.
So with that information, let's go ahead and play through a day in the life here, and we'll take down morning actions.
Mm-hmm.
We'll start with Jeannie.
I mean, I'm assuming the ball is already rolling on getting like a list of suitors.
You've had that conversation with Trieste. If you want to take this morning and go over and discuss it with her or see if she's made any progress, you can.
Okay. Seems like a fair thing because I'm having to do double work.
You're having to do double work?
Yeah. Jeannie's twin has decided she doesn't want to get married, so I got to do double work.
You gonna marry two guys?
Get double married?
Is anybody else going to join Jeannie in visiting the Amberson estate this morning?
What Jeannie's gonna do is she's gonna like just cast disguise self and pretend to be Evie and get married twice.
Why don't I just marry Evie? Then we're technically,
It's like genetically we're the same. Just marry.
What is Edmont doing this morning? We'll call this the day that Victor is supposed to be at his hearing.
Oh.
Or no, the day before that, because you were going to go tonight to speak with the Nuctons. So, Edmund, morning action. Sleeping in?
Oh, sorry, my mic was muted.
Gross.
No, not having a whole lot of context for situation as a city. I guess I'd probably accompany the children to their
Take them to the guild hall?
to the guild hall. Yeah.
So Victor was actually going to talk to Orson about how he should join the guild hall, given his task from Ruby.
No, Orson already has.
Does Victor know that?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Orson eats breakfast with you guys every morning.
Okay. So if Victor is supposed to meet with the Nuctons tonight, then he's going to go to the guild hall in the morning with these people.
Okay. And what about Ekon?
Ekon is going to start doing some more reconnaissance on this bookstore.
On the bookseller?
Yep.
How so? Are you just going to visit the store like a social call, or are you going to do something?
Yeah, I'll visit the store as a social call to start. I expect, for about maybe an hour before that, I'd like to have my familiar monitor anyone coming or going from it.
Remember that we were supposed to bring her some books to trade, so you could always take some books with you as a reason to go there.
Sure.
Okay. But you're going to have your... How early in the morning?
For the familiar?
Yes.
Probably
before
at dawn for the familiar, and then since it doesn't have dark vision. And then I'll show up after around noon.
Okay. Well, that would be an afternoon action. What's your morning action?
Oh, okay. My morning action, I guess I'll just... You know what? I'll inquire around the neighborhood to find out what people's opinion of this bookseller is. And I'll try and make it not clear that that's what I'm doing. I'll ask about various different... kind of just sound like I'm getting the lay of the land for every establishment around, but I will specifically make sure to always work the bookseller into conversations.
Okay. Make me a charisma investigation.
That ain't no good. Can I guidance this?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a cantrip, right?
Yep.
Yeah, you can cast that as much as you want.
12. Thank you,
12.
guidance.
Some of the people you speak to, they don't get snotty with you. They don't say anything bad about it, but you get the impression from a couple of them that you've given like a small offense because you've moved in and you've been here for a couple of months and you've done all this construction and you're only just now kind of inquiring about local businesses in your neighborhood. Like if House Veritas, if this was something they were actually concerned with, why haven't they come around asking before now? But it doesn't become the focal point of your discussions. So you learned something about the various commodities in your neighborhood. When you inquire about the bookseller, it's known to be mostly an import-export kind of service. It's like a way station for books that will like be purchased on commission, will travel to Brennanine and pass through their hands, and then they can send it off somewhere else. Because a lot of trade comes through Brennanine. It's like how Amazon sends your books to a distribution center before your house instead of just sending it directly to your house. But it's not common for people to just like pop in and peruse the books. And the few people you talk to that have done that have gotten the impression that they were unwelcome and didn't return. It was not a very welcoming place.
Okay.
And you had already met the proprietress of the booksellers.
Yep.
Miriam.
Extremely sus.
Jeannie. Do you specifically ask Trieste to introduce you to someone? Or are you just trying to get like the lay of the land? You just want her to like keep her ear to the ground for you?
Well, like, Jeannie doesn't know anybody in town.
Okay.
She didn't particularly have. She was more along the lines of, this is like preliminary fact finding. Like,
Okay.
who in the city meets these requirements? You know, kind of situation. She's like viewing it from like a manufactory standpoint. Like, this is, you know, these are this is my end goal. Like, I want to build a crossbow. I need to source these parts.
You're looking for a business partner to hire into your air factory.
Correct. Right, yeah. Jeannie doesn't have any romantic interest in anything, basically. And so she's like, but she's expected to do this, and as long as it's not going to be more than a minor inconvenience to the things that she likes to do, she's not going to fight it too hard. Like, she doesn't mind being like, you know, like putting aside some stuff for a few months to have a baby, and then hand the baby over to a governess and go on about her business.
Pick the gun back up.
Right, exactly.
So it's up to you whether you want to tell Trieste specifically what you want, but what I'm interested in is what impression is she going to get? Are you looking for somebody to marry because your house has ordered it, or are you just looking to have a romantic fling with somebody, which is what she's way more interested in because that's what all the stories are about.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie to her. Like, it's time for me to get married, and we're here, and I have specific needs.
Okay.
You know, who knows? Maybe I will fall in love. I don't know.
Not
I doubt it.
surprisingly, her initial response is that she can introduce you to some of her cousins from lesser branches of House Amberson.
I mean, put them on the list.
Well, her
Like I said,
entire list is going to be her cousins. Because she's looking at this opportunity. If you're just doing it out of duty, like, you might as well make a match between her house as well.
I can't. Well, like, if we're like, again, I'm being entirely upfront with her.
Mhm.
Jeannie is seeing this as kind of a business transaction. Like I said, she's sourcing crossbow parts,
Which
essentially.
does make Trieste a little uncomfortable. But she would still be delighted if you would marry one of her lesser cousins.
She'll shrug and say, I can't take a list So is this entirely on Jeannie to choose, or is this something that has to be run through Ruby?
Ruby has made it clear that your job is to marry somebody beneath you so that he takes your name and joins your house rather than the other way around. Whereas
I understand.
When Trieste gets married, she'll have the opposite expectation.
Right.
She also
and
left you the impression that if you don't pick somebody in a few months, she will.
Okay. So, what I'm saying is, like, do I have to, like, am I expected to, like, make a presentation to, like, Ruby of, like, this is the work that I have done. These
No,
are the
absolutely
potential. Okay. All right. That was the assumption that I was kind of getting, that, like, we would have to go to Ruby and be like,
But if you
yes,
do absolutely nothing in a few months, you might find yourself at a luncheon with a bunch of eligible bachelors, and then she'll have a curt conversation afterwards for you to pick one.
right.
And Amberson is a very, very highborn name.
Does it meet the requirements?
If Trieste had brothers, which she doesn't, they wouldn't be eligible because they're very much in equal standing to you. It would come down to which house is richer, and in this case, Amberson is much richer than you guys. But a lesser branch of House Amberson, like Edmund and Ekon's branch, is a lesser house of Veritas. These are people who won't get those highborn, I'm marrying the speaker's family kind of stuff. So they would be more inclined to join your house. That's pretty much exactly what you're looking for.
Yeah, okay. I'll thank her and be like, and ask her, like, if she's got to set up some play dates? I don't know.
She tells you she's going to write to her very handsome cousin,
Mm-hmm.
who lives in Nornir, very close to Ayer's Eye, which is the great lighthouse. It's like one of the constructed wonders of the world. His name is Ferdinand. He's 17, and the only thing that you learn about him in this conversation is that he's very, very handsome.
Huh? Is he stupid?
He's very, very handsome.
He's so pretty.
Uh-huh.
And at her invitation, she is sure that Ferdinand would arrange travel to come to Brennanine and meet you in person.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you for your assistance. Do you still want to be in the wedding?
Of course.
Okay.
Edmont and Victor
Yes.
going to the House of Unseelie valuation.
Yeah.
Yes.
You don't have any official duties by the house. Like, you're not expected to come here and perform anything. But Victor, you'd like to try to join this guild?
Yes. As afternoon action, Victor also needs to see the Survey Guild before he goes and talks to Nuckton, just to put that in there right now. Yes, Victor is incredibly excited that there's a guild that actually does the stuff that he normally does.
Mm-hmm.
And he would like to find out more and how they work and what they do and all that stuff.
Make me an insight check, Victor. Your DC is going to be 20.
Okay.
Because once again, Chikai's Tor, the guildmaster, has the morning free. And when you arrive, he invites you to have a light brunch with him at his table.
I guess Victor's just going to smile and nod with that 4.
Okay. Do we have another game where nobody has insight? Because
I have insight. I'm super good at it.
good. At least one person is. So what is it the two of you are looking for when you come here?
Edmund was mostly looking after the children, but also he is interested in keeping his ear to the ground for anything that might have any new discoveries that might be of interest to the family.
And you put this question to Tor himself?
Yeah.
Yeah, Victor is here mainly to make introductions and find out about the guild and see if it's something that's actually worth joining.
He tells you he has an expedition that he was looking to Did you guys allow Orson to come with you?
Yes.
Yeah.
That he actually thinks might be perfect for junior members like Orson. He thinks that perhaps more experienced delvers like the two of you might be above this sort of task. But the idea is that you'd be going into a relatively local ruin. It's about 6 days' journey north. So it's still within the capital province. It's a ruin that's been known about for many, many years. It's been plumbed many times. And what they do periodically, they have a list of such places. And every now and again, they task, someone commissions this. Some local house or someone will have new information. They commission the guild. The job is basically to go down to this ruin, try to detect magic, and just confirm that it's empty. Probably not going to find a relic, probably not going to find anything unseelie, probably not going to be a very adventurous expedition, but this is the kind of work that he would usually give to a team of like juniors, of 14, 15-year-olds, coming to the end of the studies that Tenny and Yanis are just starting. If you don't think this work is beneath you, he's happy to give you the information.
I think it would be a great start for Orson.
Yeah.
And Orson kind of bristles when you say that. Like, he definitely thinks this work is beneath him, but he does not gainsay you sitting in the room here.
Has Orson been on many expeditions before?
He hasn't been on any.
Okay, then yeah.
Then yeah.
He's right around the age where he's a grown-up. So if your family had stayed in South Warren, like this year, probably he and Nigel and Valeri.
Yeah, Victor will have words with Orson afterwards.
Okay. The ruins are called the Rex Ronto. It's on the bank of a lake. Here, I can give you the region map here and show you about where it is. If I have it saved. I don't have it saved. Yes, I do. It's right here. So you guys are here in Brennaning. And it would be up to the north here on the border with Gosalthan. So it's a lake that feeds into this marshy territory going out to sea here. And there are ruins on the north and the west bank of the lake, and there are further known to be ruins underneath the waters of the lake as well. Do you have any experience, or do you have resources to do underwater expeditions?
I would assume that we have some experience, but it's probably not the most frequent thing that we do in South Warren.
Well, I mean, do you two specifically tell him that you have the resources to do this?
Do we actually have the resources to do this?
You'd have to, I mean, if you guys don't have class features or spells that allow you to breathe underwater, you'd have to commission resources from your house, which would probably involve having somebody write the scrolls to make those spells for you. So this would be something, if you guys can't do it yourself, you'd have to go to Nigel and say, we want these resources for this reason.
But if we went to Nigel, we actually do have those resources, not something that's like...
You have gold.
Okay. That's my main question. Do we have enough gold to afford these resources?
It's not cheap getting scrolls scribed, but it is something that can be done. And you won't know whether Nigel will go for it until you go and ask. The question is right now, do you tell Tor that you can do it? If not, he'll just have you check out the other two ruins while you're there, and he'll give the underwater task to someone else.
Given that this will be, a first expedition for some of our family members, we think we would rather err on the side of caution and not put them in a underwater situation, which can turn very dangerous very quickly.
What say you, Edmund?
I'm in agreement with my cousin.
Very well. So your task will just be to put a team together, or he can assign you as many men as you think you'll need. at your expense if you can't put your own team together. And your task will be to travel to the bank of this lake, check out the 2 ruins there, and basically just detect magic while you're there. You need somebody trained in Arcana to do that trick, and that's it. Your expectation would be to come back and tell you, nope, whatever local information you got is not any good. There's nothing of any value left in this place. Check this one off the list.
Sounds like it could be fun. What do you think?
Worth the exploration, I suppose. Would help to get a lay of the land at the very least.
What about you, Orson? How do you feel about this?
Orson looks to back and forth between you and Edmund, like he doesn't want to say something out of turn. And what he decides to say in response is, I think it sounds like a grand adventure. I think Father would be pleased.
Great. And when were you expecting this to be done by? What are the time constraints you're having on this ruin exploration?
There's no time constraints. Just
okay, fair enough.
Get it done and then report back. Because, I mean, he's got a stack of this kind of work all over the Republic. If it doesn't get done, it's not going to stop anything.
Very well.
Sounds good to me. Seems like it sounds good to Orson. Are Tinny and whoever else?
No, they're 10 years old.
Okay.
They have 2 hit points.
Yeah.
Oh.
Ooh, wow.
Magic, right?
Two whole hit points. Ooh, wow. You're generous, Brick Road.
Jeannie, what is your afternoon action?
Probably going to get back to the house, see that Ekon's doing something suspicious, and just kind of sidle up next to him and like behind him and be like, "So what you doing?"
Ekon, you're not making it a secret that you're inquiring about this bookseller, are you?
No.
I know, but Jeannie hasn't been in the house all day.
Well, yeah, you guys ate breakfast together.
Oh, okay. So, what'd you find out about the bookseller?
Not much to find out from the sounds of it. Just, pretty much what you'd expect.
And you're familiar, I mean, didn't notice anybody suspicious looking go into the shop. And everybody who did go into the shop left. There's only been 3 or 4 customers throughout the morning.
All right. Why don't we just ask her about the cave underneath her shop? She obviously knows it exists. Instead of beating around the bush with her.
Do you think that would work? Do you think we'd get anything relevant if we asked?
Well, maybe if we approached it along the lines of we found a cave underneath it and we're going to make a claim on it, maybe that'll let her slip something. I don't know. Just sitting here doing nothing is not like we got to do something. Either we leave it alone and we seal the hole, or we do something about it.
I mean, I was hoping to go over there today and just see what we could find out.
So are the 2 of you paying a visit to the bookseller?
Oh, I'm totally going now.
Yeah.
And what is Victor doing as an afternoon action?
So Victor is going to go to the Survey Guild, where he is the official member.
Okay.
And he is going to try and find somebody who's qualified to give advice on this survey situation.
On the land dispute, or on like the fact that you're a barrister now?
The fact that going to a land dispute, these people have somehow confused me with a barrister.
Okay.
Seems like something that they should be aware of and have input on, given that it may reflect badly on their guild if I get up there and go, yeah, no, I'm a barrister. Yeah, I work for the Survey Guild.
And what is Edmund's afternoon action?
Going to get a better familiarity with some of like the. Are there any colleges of fighting in the city? Anything that anything of that nature?
What type of fighting? There are instructors in probably any type of fighting you can imagine. But as far as being
Bare knuckle fighting, like the kind that he's shown an aptitude for.
you're not likely to find like a martial arts school or anything in Brennanine. And the reason for that is because those kinds of practices would be foreign to not just Brennanine, but the empire that sat on these lands before the church moved here. You could definitely find an instructor in the city, and I'm not sure if we decided where Edmund received any of his monk training, but it's more likely, like, picture the like the reclusive monastery up in the hills with 1,000 stairs kind of thing. That's
gotcha.
So in the city, you'd probably find somebody who knows and can instruct you, if that's what you're looking for, but there's not going to be a school for it. There's not any kind of demand for that sort of fighting.
Then Edmund's going to spend some portion of his time looking for that.
The closest thing you'd find is a school or a guild would be that there are gymnasiums and gamesmen's guilds in and around an area of the town that used to be a coliseum. Up here, very close to the cathedral. Because back before the church chose the Republic as its seat, there was gladiatorial blood sport in Brennanine in that coliseum. It was a big part of the culture here.
Mm-hmm.
The church put a stop to that, and so now it's gamesmanship. Wrestling, hammer toss, pole vaulting.
Yeah,
track and field.
That's the kind of stuff he'd be interested in as well.
And there are a lot of different gamesmen's guilds. Their job is basically to find promising young athletes and sponsor them. And they make a lot of money on this. There is no tradition amongst the current Brennanine games. Currently, there's no plans for anybody to sponsor like a large tournament or a large like citywide games.
That's fine.
40 years ago, there was one, and there was a friggin' axe murderer.
Really? Wow, that's fascinating. Wonder what happened with him.
So what is Edmund's goal? Are you looking to get sponsorship? Are you looking to sponsor someone else? Are you looking to join a particular gym and learn one of these sportsmen's traditions?
Yeah, I mean he's got training in acrobatics as it is right now, so that's probably got his foot in the door into some kind of situation like that.
Acrobatics would be an example of a gamesman's pursuit. I could see that.
Yeah.
It kind of blends the line between sport and performance.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, there's a Tumblr's Guild that you could look into.
Yep.
Let's take a quick sojourn to fantasynamegenerators.com. Let's see who runs this joint. It won't be a large guild. It won't be particularly prestigious. Because the big ones that people like are like the chariot racing, the pole vaulting, that kind of thing. And there are people in the city who want to go back to wrestling lions if the church would allow them.
Yeah.
Actually, let me see if a major house would be involved. Bear with me just one moment.
Oh, even better if a major house is involved in it. Whether they're on a good side or bad side.
So, you learn about a man named Musio. Musio Riverleaper. He's taken the name Riverleaper because he has, in the past, distinguished himself in long jumping competitions. And he is known to be a bastard son of House Red Spiral, which is like the mysterious star-seeing house of the desert province to the south.
Mm-hmm.
So he's not actually a member of the house. He doesn't have any political clout, but he's a distinguished athlete, and he has established a small gymnasium that people refer to as a tumblers guild. People who do acrobatics routines and things.
Oh yeah, this is totally my speed.
So you're going to spend the afternoon going to get the size of this man.
Yeah.
Okay. Victor, would you go and ask your surveying boss man about the situation? You're not laughed out of the joint, but remember, you're like the 10th or 12th surveyor that's been picked up on this case, and it always turns into a big mess. This isn't even not only is this not the first time that they've tried to kowtow a surveyor into being a barrister and arguing their case, it's not even the first time this side of the argument has done it. There was a situation a good 10 or 15 years ago where the same thing happened. The only difference now is that there's an arson involved.
Oh, really?
Do you have any evidence when they ask, so that the orchard was burned? They actually did burn down the grove.
The orchard was actually burned, yes. However, when I was there, I saw no evidence that one side did it versus the other. I saw no evidence that there was magic involved. It could have been the Nuctons burning it down. It could have been the Nucton Roslins burning it down. Or it could have actually been lightning from the giant thunderstorms that have been going on. So no, there's no evidence one way or the other.
So this is a big escalation in this dispute because neither the grove was always too important to destroy. They do offer to take it off your hands. They can kick this up to actual barristers that they have contact with the surveyors. So you have three options that they give you. The first option is that basically you just go do this yourself. Actually, I guess you got four options because number one, you could just blow them off and not show up. So the second option would be to take it on yourself and try to argue in their favor or make whatever argument you want. Or you can kick it up to the Surveyors Guild. If you do that, they have contacts that are barristers in the city that they can hire on basically on their behalf, on behalf of the Surveyors Guild. Their perspective on what's happened is that House Nucton is abusing their relationship with the guild you work for.
Which seems to be the case, yes.
So either you can tell them, I'm going to kick it up to a barrister that you guys put out, who's, if you think the case can be won, argue to the benefit of House Nucton. Basically do the job they think you can do, but actually do it competently. Or the opposite. They can send a barrister in there to basically say, to represent the Surveyors Guild and basically say, nope, House Nucton did not go through the proper channels and get a proper barrister. They kind of shanghaied one of our surveyors. They're not acting in good faith here, and basically throw them under the bus.
Well, given that House Nucton is abusing their privileges, given that Victor is not a barrister and does not want to get up there and embarrass his own house, he is going to inform the Survey Guild that, in his opinion, the best choice of action is to, if Nucton decides to continue to actually take this to trial, Victor will go and talk to them tonight and try to persuade them out of it. But if they continue to exist, then the Survey Guild should do what's in the best interest of the Survey Guild, which would be to up there and explain that there is no evidence of this claim. This is unwarranted. Nuctons are not following the proper procedures, and this should just be dismissed.
All right. So you're gonna go visit the Nuctons tonight, and if they don't agree to drop this case, you're gonna just let the guild hire a barrister to go in there and destroy them.
Well, there's no evidence that says they actually got their farm burned down by the other guys, so...
And the people you're talking to at your guild find this very amusing, because this family feud is... Every so often, one side or the other hires a surveyor to go out there and try to get the grove back on their land. So there is an element of, we finally get to stick it to these a-holes. Of course, if you wait another 2 years, it'll be the other side of the family acting as the a-holes.
Of course. But if this continues to go up, it seems like it's wasting the Surveyors Guild resources, so let's put a stop to this right now.
Okay. Edmund.
Yes, sir. Sorry, Doggo was doggoing.
Make me a Dex acrobatics check.
Would be my pleasure. Oh, you cut me on an off day. That's a 7.
A 7?
Yeah.
When you go there,
Wait. McDohl, take 2 blips. You have some, because you weren't here last week. You don't have the blips, so just take 2.
you can't spend 2 blips on his roll. You can only spend 2 blips on your own roll.
Oh, okay, never mind then.
You can
I'll-
spend
Okay,
4
then.
blips to turn his roll into an auto success.
Can we split it where he does 2 and I do 2?
Nope. I don't make deals when it comes to blips. Treble can spend 4 or he can hold his tongue.
Yep. Sorry, McDohl.
Fine. You tried. I appreciate that.
Muzio tells
Yeah,
you
you
that you're not the first highborn gentleman to come into one of the gamesmen's guilds expecting the position of his birth to carry him beyond his natural ability. That said, he can see that you do have the seed of some talent, and you do have a reputation for being a hand fighter. He does know that you're not entirely without skill, even though you haven't demonstrated any.
You've caught me on an off day, I do confess.
He does ask about the nature of the tournament that you won back in South Warren.
It was a contest of several different fighting arts, most of which were weapon. I was one of only 2 competitors that entered unarmed.
To most people in the Republic, and even throughout the provinces, the idea of a warrior going into battle unarmed doesn't make any sense. This is not a culture where monks are well understood or well revered. Of course, some monks do use weapons. There are the Kenseis out there of the world.
Mm-hmm.
But he thinks on it for a moment. Part of the problem is that the church doesn't allow blood sport in the games. So there's really no room for any kind of fighting tournament to happen during any sort of games.
Certainly.
That said, Muzio does wonder if you have some other impressive demonstration, if you wouldn't mind leaning into the idea that this is a foreign and faraway practice. Maybe the exoticism of your fighting style could bring some attention to his tumbling guild.
I'd be more than willing to give that a. I'd be more than willing to give that a try. I mean, I've still got other duties to attend to, but I can definitely make the time for you. I'm always looking to learn more.
Well, you have
No
much
reason.
to learn.
Thank you.
So you have
Very kind.
an agreeable meeting with Muzio. Make an insight check.
That's an 8.
An 8? Okay.
Yep.
He's not unfriendly at all, but he does seem to take some pleasure in talking down to you when he can.
Oh,
And this is-
no doubt.
This is the sort of thing that, like, a skilled bastard or a skilled commoner would take pleasure in a conversation with a highborn noble. He doesn't have any official tasks for you, but if you're able to, in the process of learning your tumbling and practicing here, if you are able to find a student to train up in your exotic fighting arts, you know that there might be interested eyeballs around.
I will definitely keep my eyes. I'll definitely keep my eyes open for that kind of thing.
Does Edmont fight with any weapons, or is he strictly a hands fighter?
He does have a couple. He does carry weapons. He does carry a short bow.
Okay. Is he good with it?
Yeah, He's passable.
Because there are archery competitions and things in the games as well.
Yeah. He's passable at it.
That's not what Muzio's school focuses on, but okay.
Mm.
Jeannie and Ekon heading back in to visit the bookseller in the afternoon. And the shop is empty except for Miriam herself, who is going through a stack of books and just kind of less organizing them onto a shelf and more trying to cram as many on the shelf as she can fit. Like they're Tetris blocks.
Okay. I'll have brought a small pile of books from South Warren of no individual value, just the cheapest, least important books we had laying around the household, basically. Maybe 4 or 5 of them.
I have some old technical manuals, I guess.
Yeah.
So books of no real value then.
Yep.
Okay.
Like we cleaned out like the this is like freshman college level stuff that Jeannie just didn't sell back
So
at the end of the
books.
semester. At the end of the semester. Because we're going to give her like 5 copper pieces.
What year of Artificer school did you learn to make infinity amounts of acid?
That is, you get your first infusions at level 2. So
How to safely stockpile acid in an extra dimensional space in your backpack.
I don't think that's ever covered. I think that is generally frowned upon, and only the most egregious safety violators would ever do that. And the only thing worse than that is storing it on in an enclosed space, like, I don't know, a barge.
The only thing worse than that is spending all night building a mechanical giant honey badger and then throwing it into a whirlpool. That seems pretty irresponsible.
Who would do that, honestly?
Throw them into the whirlpool. The whirlpool kind of.
Those events were like years apart.
So she stops what she's doing to kind of go through and appraise your books. And again, with no real care, she kind of shoves a pile of books on a back table aside and starts going through yours. And you guys know these books are worth basically nothing.
Yeah.
That's
After a quick appraisal, though, she offers you 50 gold pieces for the pile.
Oh, we were hoping for an exchange.
Well, then she can offer you 50 gold pieces worth of credit.
It's great for me.
Jeannie looks at her kind of in a side eye because, like I said, these are worthless books.
As far as you know.
I mean, yeah. Why are you offering so much credit? Just gonna ask her.
She tells you that she tries to give fair value to books that are brought in because she might have a buyer for these books. That's what she thinks she can get for them.
Well, minus some amount for yourself, obviously. Like
Oh, yes. Yeah, of course.
food isn't free.
Now, do you accept the 50?
Yeah, I'm gonna start wandering around the stacks and looking at some of the books we might exchange that 50 credit for.
Okay.
Jeannie's just standing there, like, staring at this woman.
And your books just
Like-
kind of join the big pile on the side of her desk for now.
Mm-hmm.
You're just staring at her creepily?
It's kind of like
Is there a problem?
I'm staring at her in a sense of like I'm just turning things over in my brain because this woman's behavior is not consistent with people who love books.
Okay.
So either Jeannie's like going back and forth in her brain to either this woman has a hoarding problem, which is a mental illness, or maybe this is a front for a cult.
You
And
tell her
wouldn't that be neat? I'm gonna, yeah, like Jeannie's gonna like just stare at her, think for a few minutes, and then just kind of, as Ekon wanders off, she's gonna be like, "You don't strike me. You don't actually sell books, do you?"
I just sold books. I bought some. I'm going to sell them. I sell books every day. It's my business, my livelihood.
You were a little, and then I'm gonna point at the piles, and it's like, yeah, no merchant, and because Jeannie was in I guess it's a merchant guild, kind of.
An artificers guild run by
Right.
a house known
Like-
for being their specialty is being shipwrights.
Right. Nobody that buys and sells things treats their goods this way. What are you actually doing here?
I'm not sure how to answer that. I'm a bookseller. Well, today I'm a book buyer, and she motions over to Ekon, who's going through the stacks and like motions with her hands, like demonstrating she has a customer she's going to sell books to. Bookseller. It's the definition of
Do you
the
have
word.
anything else in Old Aetherine?
And she gladly takes the excuse to leave Edmund's creepy, or Jeannie's creepy staring presence to go over and assist Ekon. It just takes you to 4 or 5 different places. They're not all cataloged together. But you managed to find there's a history of the province of Grand Fernisco written in Old Aetherine. There are some genealogy texts. It's old musty tomes written in fake Latin.
Yeah.
She has more
And,
than this, but it would take her some time to find them, to seek them out.
Ekon will ask how much for these, and he'll pull out those specific books.
Oh, she'd be happy to call that an even trade for what you brought in. 50. You have $50 worth of books, is what she's saying.
All right, that works for me.
And then she writes you a bill of sale, acknowledging the trade, these titles for these titles.
All right, I'm gonna do like. Jeannie just came to like a snap decision. She says, "Ekon, come on, we have to go. We have to." How am I gonna say this? We have to go and finish exploring that cave underneath the underneath our property and see where it leads.
Both of you make me an insight check when you mention the cave in her presence.
That is a 13.
That's a 20.
20. As soon as Jeannie mentions the cave, you see Miriam glance over at the spot in the shop where Evie sussed out the entrance down into the cave would be from the bookshop. Just for a second, then she turns her head back to you guys.
Ekon will smile and raise his books up. Said, "Thank you again." Walk out the door.
She bids both of you good day.
Did anyone else come or go during the day while my familiar was watching?
Several customers, but nobody entered that didn't leave shortly
Okay,
thereafter.
right. Were the customers just like all generally carrying books either on the way in or the way out?
Some of them.
Okay.
She's doing some business out of the place. Is that it for you two?
It's very. She is in fact. She is pretty suspicious.
Does your
But-
familiar an owl? Am I remembering that right?
I don't currently have a familiar, but I can summon one.
Someone
I just
has-
didn't want. I didn't want to keep up with a familiar.
Okay. Let's go and get some evening action starting with Jeannie.
I guess Jeannie's gonna go back down into the cave this evening.
Down into the cave.
Mm-hmm.
Edmont would go with you. If you looking for any other companions for that.
Sure. I would say no.
Does everybody want to go down into the cave?
Yeah, it's a little dangerous.
group task?
Victor wants to, but he has other plans he has to go deal with.
We can go meet with the Noctons later tonight.
Okay, then yeah.
All right.
Assuming he lives.
Assuming he lives, right?
Well, if you
Always
die,
know
then
whether or not you live.
Yep.
I'm gonna have to delete this fog of war again.
If I die, blame the Noctons.
Because remember, you had hired a guard to take
Yeah.
up residence down here.
Yeah, when's the last time anybody checked with that guard?
I mean, there's two of them that take.
I
one takes
assume
the
if they
day
come
shift,
up
one
for
takes the
like
night shift.
food.
they have to be paid as well.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like, he doesn't live down here and he's been forgotten about. No, they come and go every day.
And have they said anything over the last months or days or however long we've had them
No,
for?
this is the easiest job they've ever had.
Okay.
They sit in the basement and they get paid in silver every day. They have not complained.
Uh-huh.
And yeah, when you enter, he stands to attention, greets all of you.
Any
and-
activity?
Shakes his head. I thought I saw a mouse earlier. I didn't get up to investigate.
Nope, no need for that.
Certainly fine.
Make sure no humans come or go.
What about humans transforming into mice?
That's above their pay grade. Let's go.
And if someone ties off a rope, Ekon will slide down with light on his shield.
And as far as he's concerned, Genie is his employer, because Genie's the one that arranged for him to be down here.
Right.
So when Genie says open the grate and let us in, when you guys come down, the place is dark, but you can see illumination off in the direction of the main cave. Just shadows flickering against a wall.
Did anybody forget to turn off the lights when they were last down here?
No.
Ekon will douse the light on his shield and motion to Genie to move ahead, because I think she can see in the dark, right?
No, I currently do not have my
No.
my dark vision goggles.
Is anybody else coming with you in terms of your retainers or servants, or is it just the
I
four
don't
of you?
think so.
You don't want to invite Orson with us?
No.
How many HP does Orson have? 4?
No, he's a level 1 noble, so he's got, what is it?
6?
6 plus his con, yeah.
All right. Well, Genie is going to very quickly, as quietly as she can, gonna try to sneak up on the light.
Make stealth
Vic-
check.
Victor is
Yes.
also going to stealth up there.
Individually.
Likewise.
All right, everybody who's moving up there, make a stealth check.
That's a 10.
A 10?
Mm-hmm. I don't roll at disadvantage this campaign, but I've only got a +2.
That would be
21.
a 12.
Okay, everybody go ahead and put yourself in this hallway where Genie's standing.
Oh, before we do this, Edmont, you have long strider on you. Your movement speed is 10 feet more than it normally would be
50.
If-
for the next hour.
Don't
in
give
case
the
we get
monk more movement speed. My goodness.
You also have 5 temp HP from Ekon's Words of Resolve.
Genie is going to get 5 temp HP from Victor.
well, you get 5 H. Well, give it to yourself. I'm fine.
You can't give it to
Can't give it
yourself.
to yourself.
Oh, well, then you have mine. My 5 temp HP.
Hey, is that all settled?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, you guys are moving forward. Just the three of you?
Yeah, Ekon is under no impression that he can be quiet.
So, Ekon, are you standing up on top of this platform, or are you going to come down to the bottom level?
How far of a drop is it?
Only about 10 feet. You can jump down
He'll just stay up
safely.
there. Yeah, if you can jump down safely, he'll just stay there.
Genie, as you're moving forward, you feel your foot slide slightly against just a pile of pebbles in the shadow against the wall that you didn't see. And it makes a scraping sound, and you stop for a moment. And a few seconds later, the light ahead goes dark. The flickers cease.
Okay.
So you guys don't have any light source. You're in complete darkness now.
Can I make an active perception check to try and hear the sound of someone moving?
The only movement you can hear in that direction right now was Genie.
Okay.
Genie is gonna like touch the wall.
Okay.
Because she knows the general shape of it, and she's gonna go. She's gonna whisper to Edmont and Victor that she's gonna go forward, and that if she hears distress, for them to come very quickly. And she's going to pick up a rock. And no, I mean she's going to pick up a rock, and then she's going to use her class feature to put a light on it, but she's going to keep it in her hand where you can't, to basically douse it.
So you can either hold the light. If you can see by the light, it's giving off enough illumination that other people in the darkness can see it.
No, I'm dousing it completely.
So you're holding. So then you don't get the benefits of having a light.
Correct,
You're
but I
remaining
have
blind.
it, and
Okay.
it's in my hand.
Gotcha.
Yes. And then I'm going to, using the left hand rule, I guess, since we're not investigators, we're going to. I'm going to go around the corner, and then
Climb
I'm
the
going
top of
to
the stairs.
right, and I'm going to throw the rock. Right there.
Just throw it to the bottom of the stairs,
Uh-huh.
and it lands, and it casts. This is what the light cantrip. So it's what, like 20.
No,
feet?
it's it's a candle. It's like 10 feet of light.
Oh, okay. So
It's like 5 feet of bright light, and then 10 feet of, and then 5 feet of dim light.
And you do. The rock clatters to the ground. And it's not shining enough light to illuminate much beyond just this general area between these two stairs.
Uh-huh. I'm gonna listen.
You listen for a moment. You don't hear anything.
All right. I think we should just go. And then Genie runs forward,
Watch the corners.
picks up the light, and says, "Come on." And
Hearing
I guess-
that, Ekon will put the light back on his shield and he'll start moving.
Check
and
the side
Genie
windows.
is
Ginny,
moving.
as you
yeah.
pick up the light, you start moving towards these stairs. You hear a voice from the quarters in here. It's still not illuminated because you have this little candlelight. But you hear a man's voice that says, "Come, pray with me, sister."
Victor is going to pull out his
Pulls an arrow up.
his bow.
Not his bow.
I assure you that my own prayers will not include the stretching of bowstrings as yours do.
Well, you'll have to forgive us. And Jeannie has got her little candle light out. You're gonna have to forgive us. Very few nice things happen in dark places such as this.
As you enter into the room and start casting illumination, there's a man sitting cross-legged on the floor, and he's wearing a very dark red cloak. And he has the hood pulled up over it. He asks, "Have you ever prayed before with a truly devout man?"
Why don't you take off the hood there, buddy?
Well, Edmont casts a glance over his shoulder at Ekon.
Yeah, Jeannie also looks back at Ekon once or twice.
When you give no answer, he says,
No, I said once or twice.
"Oh, okay."
And Victor said, take his hood off.
Oh, he's not taking his hood off. He's ignored that.